if there's one AI site builder you need to meet, this is dope tech for roots.
Só essa parte.
Tá bom.
Vamos para a próxima?
Hello, hello. Hello. Hi, everyone. Hello. I kind of wanted to finish listening to Tiago San, but maybe we'll do that a bit later. Can everyone hear me? Can we hear me? Am I messing something up? I hope not. I hope not. Is it loud enough? Can we all hear? Yes. Yes, I hope. I do hope so. I do hope we can all hear. How's everyone doing? Let me see who we have here. Looks like we got a lot. Excellent. Druzilla, I got a haircut like 2 days ago. I like wearing a hat a lot. I because it has a little rose on it, but this is how my hair normally kind of looks. But yeah, I did get a haircut. Okay, let's see who we got here. We got Macy, of course. Macy, another hero of the channel here. We got Bettina. Welcome, Bettina. Yes. Don't worry, Bettina. I think I said the aesthetics of fascism, but it is the aesthetics of new fascism. I think that's the correct video, and that's the one we're going to react to. Yeah. Yep, Bettina. Yep, it does. It does, Bettina. It does fuel fascism. Toya, Toya, Toya. Hello, Toya, Toya, Toya. Tiago, of course, whose music we were just listening to. Really great music. Very relaxing. Very relaxing. I kind of want to finish that song maybe after the reaction. About greed, according to Tiago, which I love. All right. Let's see here. Who else we got? Matt Saigai. Hey, Matt Saigai. Hello, Matt Saigai. Another original here. Meowzord. Woo! Your petition worked, Meowzord. I decided to play his music. Tiago, you're a man, right? I keep saying he. But please make sure. Let me know if I'm using the correct pronouns there. Okay. Reaction chat. Who else we got here? We got Lynn is a little political. Hello, Lynn. Welcome back, Lynn. Lee Lane. Hello, Lee Lane. Lee Lane. Long Beach Dragon. Hello, fellow Reculters. Rev Culters. Actually, that kind of sounds cool. Rev Culters. Hello, Long Beach Dragon. Who else? Okay, it looks like that's a Oh, there's Fox Emblem, fantastic. Oh, Druzilla, fantastic. Elliot Waffles. Oh, what? Hey, Elliot Waffles, was there a live stream cabinet meeting? Are you serious? They were praising. I mean, I'm not surprised. Praising the leader there. Henry G. Hello, Henry G. Hello, Henry G. Mithril. Hello, Mithril. Lucas here. Oh my God, we got everyone here. It's right now. Maybe we should watch that a little bit before I do the reaction. Let me see if I can find it. I'm a white straight man, says Tiago. I'm also decent. That's why I like to come here, but just wanted to play with the Hey, I get it, Tiago. It's no problem. I was just curious. Okay, let me see here. Okay, let me see. Let me find. Oh, by the way, Tiago, was that you singing in that other song? And the man that was singing in that song? Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna see if this meeting is still live. Maybe we could watch that a little bit before, and then of course we'll watch the fascism thing. Live stream cabinet meeting. By the way, folks, while I'm doing that, I've decided to change it. If we get one super chat, I'll put on the Jester hat, and then who knows next? We'll think of something. Live stream cabinet meeting. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. So
Monday.com's AI blocks are a total game changer.
One second here.
I find that hard to believe.
You know that llamas are biologically
okay.
Housing around our country.
I'm gonna maybe watch that a little bit, just a little bit, and then we'll go to the new fascism video, which I'm very excited to watch and horrified, of course. Okay. Let me make sure the sound is good here. All right. Live stream image. Okay. I love it though. In this live chat on this feed, everyone's like screaming about Epstein, which I deeply appreciate. Okay, let me see here. Audio application. All right. Cabinet meeting. Okay. Oh dear God. Here we go. All right. So let's see what's going on in this cabinet meeting. Oh, I have the chat up too. Oh, well, that worked. Huh, I didn't think it would work. I've been fooling around, folks, with a bunch of things because I'm going to try to start streaming on Twitch at the same time I'm doing YouTube. So we'll get rid of that for now. Okay. So let me pull this up. We can see what's happening. If it's just like endless praise of the leader, I might stop because what's the point? Let's go back a little bit. I know some people have already started watching it, but let's see what the orange Mussolini has to say. Okay, we'll go here. Oop, right about there. Okay, here we go. Right.
And here are the top news headlines for the day.
Okay, here we go. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm already annoyed. Okay, okay, we got on the left here, we got Marco Rubio. Okay, little Marco, as Trump likes to call him. On the right, we got Pete Hegseth, the idiot in chief of the Pentagon. Okay, and then you got again Marco Rubio being, of course, a neocon that's never seen a country he didn't want to bomb. And then, of course, in the middle, I think you all know. Let's see here. There's no sound coming out of this. Oh, maybe.
225.
There we go. Oh, God. I preferred it with no sound.
Rebuilt it largely in my first term. Being here as we prepare to celebrate Labor Day.
Hello, James. Hello, JK.
Hardworking men and women of our country, which is doing very well, I have to tell you.
It's doing very well.
The policy of the Trump administration is designed to lift up the American worker, promote great pay.
Hilarious. Yeah, anti-union Trump. I mean, and also I should point out, I love that he wants to celebrate Labor Day, even though he never pays his workers. He underpays them. He fires them at will, and doesn't like unions.
Blue-collar jobs and to rebuild the industrial bedrock of our nation. It's also obviously for great defense. We have the greatest military in the world. We rebuilt it largely in my first term. Some of it was stupidly given away to Afghanistan. For what reason? Nobody can figure that one. But it was still a relatively small amount of what, if you compare. The concept of what they did, however,
right, Drusilla,
is just incredible. But the country is doing well. We're respected all over the world.
We're respected. So for people in chat who aren't from America, is America respected all over the world right now? We'll just take a quick poll there.
Like never before, probably. We went to NATO, as you know, and they went from 2% to 5% of GDP. Nobody expected that. And the difference is they didn't pay the 2 and they paid the 5. So,
right.
And as you know, we are selling a tremendous amount of equipment to NATO. We're not spending any money. We're making
right,
money.
James?
I don't want to talk about making. I want to talk about we're no longer involved with funding Ukraine, but we are involved with trying to stop the war or the killing in Ukraine. So we're selling missiles and military equipment, millions and millions.
Okay, can we see now, admittedly, I agree with supporting Ukraine, but he's just like, we're trying to stop the killing in Ukraine, so we're selling tons of weapons, and which is a direct contradiction. Admittedly, but it's just, anyway.
To the
right, welcome, Alyssa. Right, America is hot. It's the hottest country right now. Everyone says it.
People where I'm very friendly and we have a great relationship, but that was an amazing trip. So they're funding the entire war. We're not funding anything.
Plant Sunshine?
I think it's an important point to make because a lot of people don't understand that. And we will continue to do that. And we're trying to get as much as we can for them. They want the American product. The American military product is by far the best in the world, and that's what they want to get. They have lots of options, but that's what they want to get. So
why does he always repeat
it
anyway?
Doubling up and tripling up where they make the Patriots and other really, you could say, defense and offensive weapons. The wages for blue-collar workers are now rising at the fastest rate in 60 years, which is so important to all of us around this table. The average American worker has already seen a $500 wage increase this year, and there's no inflation because there's been
no inflation,
tremendous decreases.
Yeah. Okay.
With thanks to Doug and Chris, and some of the people, the great job they've done with energy. Thank you very much, and Chris, thank you very much. I see you down close to $60 a barrel, and you'll be breaking that pretty soon, and that has a huge impact. So we have groceries are down, energy is way down. Energy is way down. It was $4 and $5 for a gallon of gas. Think of that for gasoline.
Okay, I hope everyone knows not to take any. You all know this. Everything he says basically is a lie.
It broke $2 in a couple of locations in the South.
Yeah, and groceries not down.
In places like California where they charge such high taxes, it's higher, but it's still much lower than what it was a year ago. So energy's way down. Groceries are way down. Eggs are way down. Thank you very much, Madam
He's obsessed
Secretary.
with eggs.
You've done a great job. Appreciate it. When we came in, the eggs were through the roof. They were 4 times higher than they've ever been. And my first question from you people were, what are you going to do with eggs? I said, what's the problem with eggs? That was caused by Biden, or whoever was operating the auto pen actually caused it, I guess, because I don't think he knew too much about eggs.
Here we go.
Factories are booming compared to before I took office.
Right, meows,
domestic
let's
auto
guess.
production is going to be, it's going to be so thrilling in 2 years when you see the numbers.
Did he just have a climax in the middle of that sentence? Auto production. Like that's what it sounded like to me. Sorry, that was a bit shocking for everyone. My attention, my My apologies.
building plants all over the country. They're all coming in because of tariffs. They don't want to build, they don't want to pay the tariffs. And if they build their plant here, they don't pay the tariffs. And they're pouring into our country, and you know about AI and you know about other, but the auto plants, you know, that's the good old-fashioned stuff that I love. The auto plants are pouring into the United
He does love the old-fashioned stuff, like just like fascists do. Make America great again. Let's go back to a mythic past.
States of America. They're coming from Mexico, they're coming from Canada, and they're coming from Europe, all over Europe. And it's been pretty amazing. So factories are booming. And when they actually open, you know, right now they're booming in terms of construction. This is something given to me by Mark Zuckerberg.
I'm sure a trustworthy source.
And you'll see this is AI now. These are, I never understood. I said, well, you know, because I built shopping centers, and for $50 million, you can build a very nice shopping center. So I never understood when they said $50 billion for a plant. I said, what kind of a plant is that? But when you look at this, you understand why it's 50 billion. So this is one he's building in Louisiana. That's Meta, Facebook, as people understand.
Is that like just like a computer-generated image of a giant building on top of a bunch of houses? That's what it looks like to me. Doesn't that look like a computer-generated image? Like, are they just gonna like raise all those houses and then put that building? Like, okay, I don't. Okay,
To be.
is that Manhattan? Oh, it says Manhattan. I'm an idiot. Oh my. So, I see. Okay, so he's like, yeah, let's raise downtown Manhattan and then put this giant blue block in the middle of it.
But look at that. That's the size of Manhattan. So that's superimposed over the island of Manhattan.
Oh, it's superimposed. Okay, well, my mistake.
A big part of Manhattan. I think they say 81% of Manhattan. So these are big things, and they're going up.
These are big things.
A lot of them are going up now. I don't know that big. Actually, Mark is building 4 of them, and others are building similar places. And when these things open up, I'll tell you what, our country, we're leading China now in AI, substantially leading China. And the reason is because we're letting them build their own electrical facilities. We would need double the energy that if you take all of the electricity that we produce right now in this country, you'd have to multiply it times 2 or maybe 3 times. So 3 times more than we have right now for everything, to operate your toaster and everything else, okay? 3 times more. And the way we're able to succeed, because China goes out and builds these massive.
Yeah, I suspect, folks, in this video we're about to watch about the new aesthetics of fascism, that we're probably going to see some mention of giant monolithic buildings, because that is a classic fascist style.
So right now, building 58 coal, in this case, almost all coal-fired plants. And coal is back with this country too, by the way. You know, there's a reason.
Great. That's what we need more of in this world is coal, right? Not like there's not like the world's about to end because of climate change. No, we don't care. Who cares, right? Who cares about that? We coal, good, clean coal. Which, by the way, folks, Trump literally thought that clean coal meant that you clean the coal, like you take out a toothbrush or something and wipe it off, or like some nonsense like that. That he literally thought it's like where you scrub down the coal.
They use it because it's good. It works for them. And we call it clean coal. We don't call it coal. We call it clean, even very clean coal.
Right, Elliot.
But we have coal going up. We have nuclear going up. Nuclear is very much in vogue now. It's safe and inexpensive and great. We don't allow windmills. We're not allowing any windmills to go up. I mean, unless there's a...
Yeah, okay, I love that. I want coal and nuclear. Okay, now I actually don't have that big of an issue with nuclear, but the one thing in that list that is universally safe, is extremely safe, very, very safe, is windmills. And he's like, but we don't want windmills. Windmills, the sound of the windmills cause cancer. They kill the birds.
Legal situation where somebody committed to it a long time ago. We don't allow windmills, and we don't want the solar panels that I was speaking with the secretary about.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because they take up, thousands of acres of our farmland. You see these big, ugly...
Who here is from the Netherlands? I remember someone was Plant Sunshine. Sunshine. Tell us, Plant Sunshine. I have been to the Netherlands. How bad are all those windmills for the Netherlands? Are there a ton of people getting cancer because of them? I bet, according to Trump, right? All those windmills causing cancer. Right, Plant Sunshine?
Patches of black plastic that comes from China. And the solar is, you know, I like solar in some ways, but for firing up your big plants, it doesn't work. It's very unstable, but it really takes up your farm. The farmers are saying, you know, they're building these massive blotches in the middle of the fields all over the country. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. So
he just showed us an image of a massive blotch that's going to be put in Louisiana. I mean, okay.
That at all. And windmills, we're just not going to allow them. They ruin our, they're
Right,
ruining
Plant
our country.
Sunshine?
They're ruining everyone. If you look at, I hate to mention countries, but you look at the UK, what's happened at UK, they have energy costs have gone through the roof. It's because of wind. They want to do everything, close up the northern
Yes, they do,
parts
Elliot.
of the country. They have oil that's tremendous.
Right,
And they closed it up, and they've been building windmills all over the place. And I tell them, you're my friends, but man, you're going to have a bad awakening very soon. You're going to.
Yeah, every day is a bad awakening in America, let me tell you.
They kill your birds, they're bad for the environment. And if you look at them from a house, your house is worth less than 50%. So I'm trying to have people learn about wind real fast, and I think I've done a good job, but not good enough because some countries are still trying, and they're just.
Imagine being able to build
Jesus
an app
Christ,
with your
okay.
name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI.
Bettina, oh my God, Mango Mussolini touting the benefits of coal. It's like a windmill slept with his wife or something. Hey, you know, Melania might prefer that. Let's be honest with ourselves, okay? I think she might actually prefer a windmill. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Because right now, Chris, whether we like it or not, fossil fuel is the thing that works. And then you can add nuclear with it and other things, but fossil fuel is what works if we're going to fire up those big monster factories. But if you look at comparing everything before I took office, domestic auto production is up 18,000 cars a month. And we haven't even started yet because a lot of these plants aren't built. It's up 18,000 because Ford, General Motors, and a couple of others.
I'm looking to skip some of this, folks.
They're taking their existing plants and they're as quickly as they
it's just a
can.
lie. All of it's a lie.
So when their plants open, because they're building big, modern, beautiful.
Remember how
auto plants.
the last thing of this we watched, he like discovered midstream that grass was a living thing. He's like, grass, it's alive, it's alive. Did you know it's alive? It's alive. Grass has a life.
But think of that. We're up 18,000 cars a month.
Right.
And essentially all they've done is try and utilize their space
We're going to speed this up.
as their big plants open up. It's going to be, I hope they remember that it was this way. I hope this table gets a lot of the credit for what's happening. It gets all of the credit, because this would have never happened. We were going out of business in every way. We were losing. All the car plants were leaving this country. Now they're all coming back in. And they are coming from Canada. And they are coming from Mexico. But they're coming from Germany. They're coming from all over the world. Domestic steel production is up by 100,000 tons of steel a week. We have a 50% tariff on steel, aluminum, and various other things. Copper just got brought into the picture. And that means people want to make steel here. We just made a deal with U.S. Steel. As you know, we have an outside company come in, spend $17 billion on building new plants, new everything. It's great, and it stays right here in America. So we're doing amazingly well on steel, and domestic oil production is up by more than 300,000 barrels a day. That's a lot of barrels.
Great, that's great. Great for the world.
About that in a second, I think Chris and Doug. These two people have done a fantastic job.
Oh, God, I can't take much more of this.
We have the oil price down to about $62 a barrel. So just so you understand, because a lot of you like to talk about costs and prices, but I watch so much fake information. Product costs are down. Energy is way down. Energy brings things down. You know, with energy, that's what happened with Biden. He stopped our program, and then he went back to it when he realized that it looked like you're going to be paying
I know,
numbers that
right,
nobody's ever seen,
Mithril?
like $7 a gallon. You're going to pay $7 a gallon. They were up to $7.5. So then he immediately went back to the Trump plan that they terminated. But it was too late for them. It was too late. They blew it. They had a great thing going. I gave them something great, and they blew it. Since the inauguration, we've created over 500,000 new private jobs. And if you notice, when the numbers come out, government jobs are going down and private jobs are coming up. And that's what really fuels the country. It's easy to hire people and pay them for doing something.
By the way,
maybe,
folks, remember they revised down the job numbers. Jobs are very slowly growing. It's a sign that we might be heading into a recession because of all the nonsense he's doing. Yeah, you're right, Luke. Any fake information is information that's bad for him, right? Absolutely.
Not very productive. But government jobs are down, actually substantially down, and private jobs are way up. And these are the jobs that make money, create a better life. Meanwhile, we've reduced the number of federal bureaucrats by 84,000. So we got rid of 84,000, and I think the job numbers, you're going to see the new job numbers are going to be through the roof because of all of the different businesses that are moving
Yeah, probably because he fired the person who was in charge of doing the jobs numbers because he didn't like the jobs numbers.
into our country. And not just production businesses, autos and AI, but any business you can think of in the world of furniture, as an example.
Patina.
North Carolina, I went there many times when I built a lot of hotels and things, and I'd go to North Carolina, I'd buy the greatest, they were the greatest, most talented people.
Okay, guys, if
And
you
then,
guys don't mind, I'm going to skip.
China came along and
I
took
just
all of those
can't.
jobs away. They would have
Let's go
tariffed
to
them. China
the.
wouldn't have taken any of the jobs, but we had
I want to
presidents
see
said,
what the
honestly,
cabinet
and I
members
like some of
say.
them,
We can
but they
watch
didn't know
some
what the hell they were doing
fascist
from a business
dictatorial
standpoint, from running the
praise,
country.
and then we
And
will
North
go to the
Carolina, the
video.
most talented woodworkers that you've ever seen. I'd be there and I'd watch them. I'd say, I'd like to have a rail and
I'm gonna go
so we
for
pay
it.
the same price as the lowest.
Okay, he's still going. He's still going. We got to hear what RFK says. Let's see if the brainworm
and the 232
has some
pharmaceuticals, which we
words for
launched
him.
together. When you put those two together, it really gives Bobby the tools
Howard
to go
Lutnick,
execute your plan.
absolute
So
lunatic.
I'm supporting Bobby as he executes his plan.
Good, right?
Yes. And this cabinet meeting is supposed to be
Right,
about
that's-
working Americans to bring jobs back to this country, and particularly rural America. And I want to mention a big
We should give all the power to the worms. The worms will rule. They shall slowly take over the continents. Like, because I bet the worm is actually like in control of JFK's body at this point.
beautiful bill. Right now, we spend 7% of Medicaid dollars on rural hospitals. So they're getting the short end of the stick. It's about $19 billion a year. Under the Rural Transformation Program, we give them an extra $10 billion a year. So we're raising an infusion of cash to rural hospitals and rural communities by 50%. It's going to be the biggest infusion in history, and it's going to restore and revitalize these communities. And we can't survive as a nation if we don't honor our rural communities, which are the source of our values, our virtues, our character.
All the
our
nodding
economy,
going
our
on
food.
here with Doug
And
Burgum.
you are bringing that back. You are bringing those communities back.
You
wanna
are
talk,
doing
because
this,
you mentioned
sir.
the wind farms.
You guys
We now
love
have an
you so much, sir.
intergovernmental, coalition, a team, which is Doug Burgum and Howard Lutnick and Chris Wright and Pete Hegseth. We're all working on this issue. And Lee, we're all working together on this issue. We're meeting together. There are right now 11 wind farms planned that were launched during the Biden administration. Between Maine and Virginia, it's 1,130 towers. These towers are twice the size of the Washington Monument. The blades on them are
Great.
It's so crazy.
The
Go ahead.
blades are
I love how the sort of phallic implications of this. They're always talking about it's so big, biggest towers. This tower is going to be bigger than the biggest building. It's such a large tower. Like, okay, we get what he. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm surprised there's not black stains on all of their faces from all the times they've been licking Trump's boots, licking his shoes.
350 feet long, one blade. One of these blades blew up on Nantucket last summer, and the water was filled with shards of glass, of sharp glass, so it was dangerous to swim. They had to close the beaches, and but
Right,
they had to
totally.
indemnify themselves so the local communities can't sue them. None of these projects are bonded. If you build an oil derrick in the Gulf, you got to put a bond down. There's no bond for dismantling them. That's one of the tools that Doug is now using to challenge some of these projects. None of the cost of energy from these projects is 39 cents a kilowatt hour.
Okay,
The
we
average
get it,
cost
we
is
get it, we get it.
117
Okay, you know what?
cents
I'm
per
sorry. Okay,
kilowatt
well,
hour.
let's
And
just go to the other video. I can't. I think we get the idea here. It's the same nonsense, different, same shit, different day. Okay, that's great. Love it, love it, love it for us, love it for the world. Okay, let's actually learn something. Okay, all right. Yeah, very true. Very true, Long Beach Dragon. It would be marmalade like from kissing his. Yeah. Oh, I know, right? That's a good point. Just the perfect. That. Oh my God, that emoji is the perfect color. I mean, neither, Alyssa. I can't really comprehend it. Hamina, when are at least one of these people going to resign? I don't know. Probably pretty soon. Okay. Hopefully. They'll say one tiny thing and then they'll resign. Okay, guys. Macy says that JFK Jr. has spasmodic dysphoria. It's a rare neurological disorder that causes a strained voice. So I acknowledge that his voice isn't caused by the brainworm, but his brain is caused by the brainworm, which is like, yeah, you can kind of tell from what he talks about and and his actions. I know, right, Alyssa? Okay. So let me make sure that I got this set up so we can actually listen to this video. Excuse me. I have not seen this. I'm very excited for it though. Who was it originally? Who here in chat? I can't remember. Who's the one that originally recommended it? It was a while ago that someone recommended it. Was it Patina? Who was it here? So whoever it was, thank you for recommending it. I will call you out once you remind me. Okay, so we're gonna watch It was Alyssa. Okay, it was Alyssa, not okay. Alyssa, thank you for this. Okay, so we're gonna watch this. It is 42 minutes. That's okay. I'll put it on a bit quicker speed here, and I'll definitely probably pause to talk. I know a lot about this topic, so it'll be interesting to see the new aesthetics of fascism. Or just as a reminder, folks, if we get one super chat, I will put on the Jester hat. Okay. Uh, because I'm trying to come up with different ways to do this. So okay, we'll do 1.25. How about that? Let's see here, 1.25. Okay, and I'm very excited to see this. The new aesthetics of fascism. All right. Let's see here. Hamina, I really thought Rubio, Bondi, and Gabbard would have resigned by now, but I guess their souls really are void. Oh, yep, Hamina, yep. As typically happens in fascist movements, the conservatives always kind of get on their knees and bend to the leader. Hat. Thank you, Alyssa. Okay, there we go, folks. That was easy. We got the hat. All right, let me put it on before we watch the fascism aesthetics thing. There we go. Yes, he does. Rubio, a massive demon, a neocon who loves killing brown people, literally just loves bombing other countries. Okay, exactly. Why have morals when you can have money? You don't really need the morals if you have the money. So if we get one, let's say if we get, I don't know, let's say two more super chats, and then we'll do the Jester caller, I guess. Boop-a-doo. Okay. Oh, if I get it to work out, we'll just do one more super chat, and we'll do the Jester caller. Okay, Jester caller. There we go. Also, folks, I'm gonna be painting my nails while we watch this. I'll be listening and stuff, but just to let you know, Jester caller. All right, because I need my nails painted with a bit of a gray, lovely little gray here. Okay, so thank you, Alyssa, for that hat. Okay. Mithril, there's a very interesting creator I've been watching lately. He's a practicing Christian, but he's highly critical of Trumpian Christianity. I'm pagan, so no skin in the game. That's interesting, Mithril. Are you on our Discord? I would love to. I might be able to react to that or something. If you put it in the reactions. So, folks, if you're for those who are here, please join our Discord. We have a great. You know what? I need to change this to all chats. Why'd I reduce the hat requirement, Matt? It's mainly because I feel bad always. To be honest, I feel bad always doing the super chat thing for the hat requirement. Um, these aren't monetized. I don't monetize them, so I was trying to get something like some sort of income out of them. But at the same time, if I put on the hat and the collar before we watch some of these things, it looks better when I clip the videos, if that makes sense. Okay, sounds good, Mithril. Hello, Death Died Today. That's why I reduced the hat requirement, but I could change it back. But just for today, I'm just reducing it. So we just need one. Oh yeah. Now we get the collar. Matt Sai Guy did this. Great job, Matt Sai Guy. This is perfect. Right before we start the video, it's excellent. Oh, there we go. Oh, perfect. I feel much better now. Okay, good. All right, so let's do this now. Now I am going to put it back up to 5, or yeah, 5 for the makeup because that's a. It's okay. So for this, so if we get 5 more now, I'll put on makeup. Okay. So remove that goal. We'll do this. Got it. Remove it. Oh, oops. Exactly. Death died today. That's why I'm like, that's part of the reason why I'm doing this. I get that. So I don't want to. I'm trying to learn how to do this better. So let's see here. If we do 5 more, then I'll put on the makeup. But I'm okay with just doing this. Okay. Makeup. There we go. Okay. Now, folks, let's get into the video. We'll see how this is. Okay, guys. So let's begin this. Again, I'm going to be putting on some nail polish while we're doing it, but I will be listening and chatting with you. So let's go. Let's see what it is. Okay, here we go. Let me know if the sound is good.
Never again. That's what we Germans always tell ourselves. This should never happen again. And it surely won't, right? I mean, we now know how fascism looks like. World War II changed the game. That's why it's time for a redesign. A friendlier and more quiet form of fascism that slowly creeps its way into society.
Yeah.
Remember, fascism does not equal fascism. But the aestheticization of politics remains. In a way that doesn't come with aggressive militarism, but in a disguise of technocratic bureaucracy, corporate control, and manufactured media staging. Welcome to the age of friendly fascism. Modern fascist aesthetic is therefore incredibly hard to spot, as there's no historical blueprint I can point at, while in the past fascist ideologies were more clearly unified and bundled.
Already, this guy, I can tell he's a very good video maker. The sound, the production of the video. I know this is kind of irrelevant to the topic, but I got to tell you, Alyssa, this is a great recommendation. This guy knows what he's doing. It is, and yeah, I agree with him so far that the fascist aesthetic these days is not nearly as, it's sort of a corporate. There's a lot of corporate parts to it. Well, I'll see what else he's going to say here. Hamina, I absolutely will do a stream on Haiti sometime, especially the Haitian Revolution, maybe the stuff like that. Yes, this is the video on the Discord, Matt Sai guy. And thank you, Toya for the thank you for the super chat, Toya. Makeup 1 out of 5. Thank you, Toya. Yeah, repressive desublimation 100. Meowzord, you used it correctly. Thank you for using it correctly. Okay, yes, there's a fascism today. There's a lot of sort of repressive desublimation there in a way. So yeah. Okay, let's see now what else he has to say. Would you guys like me to? Is he speaking too fast? You know what? I'll put it back down to 1. I'm okay with that. We'll be here a bit, so.
And presented one ideology. Today there are countless splitter movements that may differ in various aspects, but still have clear fascist characteristics in their ideology and therefore optics. The debate about whether this or that can...
So modern day fascism, right? Even old-timey fascism, the good old days fascism, right, is very much... it's like an intersection of a bunch of different people and ideologies. You got Alex Jones, you got the Christian far right, you have the tech bros, you have the manosphere. All of those things kind of come together to create a fascist whole. So I love how he's showing all these folks. And it was the same thing true with the Nazis. There was like a cult elements to it. There were Christian elements to it. There were pagan elements to it. There were industrialist elements to it.
Ultimately be attributed to fascism is, in my opinion, at least not really relevant, as the debate about a definition only distracts from what is currently happening. I will now show you specific visual aspects, especially in Western contexts, which I believe show ideological connections to traditional fascism. The best thing I can do here is to let the aesthetics speak.
So a lot of the memes and stuff I see from the far right remind me, and this sounds exaggerated, but remind me of old-fashioned Nazi propaganda, and I'm hoping he'll mention that. He showed an image of what looked like a meme. A lot of that sort of stuff kind of reminds me of old-fashioned fascism.
Speak for themselves.
Corbin, so this is a good question, Corbin. Was there fascism before the 20th century? That is a hard question to answer, Corbin. I think most historians would say no, there was not. There were fascist tendencies, but we didn't really see a full-on fascist movement until the early 20th century. But again, some experts may disagree on that. Some people argue, for example, that the Ku Klux Klan was a fascist movement. There are elements to truth of that, but it's still debated amongst academics, okay? Macy Schroeder, does MAGA need memes because they can't read? Yeah, I didn't say it, Macy. You said it, okay? He's delusional. Who's delusional? Welcome, Cherry Morales. Okay. Okay, Meowzord. In my opinion, old-timey fascism didn't have such a rich fascist nuance to draw from. Now we have decades of subtle fascist aesthetic and dog whistles. That is absolutely. I buy that, Meowzord. That's a really good point. Okay, let's see.
The neo-futurist art movement has no connection to fascism as it did back then. No glorification of violence, war, and macho culture. Yeah. What overlaps though, however, is the idea of a utopia, driven by technological progress, aesthetically represented in minimalism, dynamic curves, coldness, and futuristic sci-fi looks.
Yeah, to say, this reminds me of Futurism, which was an artistic movement in Italy that was heavily linked to fascism. Maybe I'll show you some images. Well, he might show you. He's talking about futurism, but there is some element of old-timey fascism that does kind of put on display this notion of like fast-moving society, a kind of a futuristic, fast-moving, active technological society, especially when it comes to Italian fascism. But we'll see if he talks about it. Okay, here we go.
Speed and momentum. So it's no wonder that many Silicon Valley companies in particular are adopting this aesthetic.
Yep.
I do see a philosophical connection between the early 1900s futurists and today's tech bros.
He did his research.
The desire for a future in which technology will save the world.
And it's time to rebuild America.
There is a cult surrounding tech bros like Musk and Zuckerberg. Beyond just their wealth, the whole techno-optimist mindset helped foster a culture where these absolute losers could be idolized. Libertarians like Musk, Zuckerberg, Bezos, and Thiel also clearly reflect the macho culture, as was the case in classic futurism.
I think having a culture that like celebrates the aggression a bit more has its own merits that are really positive. It's one thing to say we want to be kind of like welcoming and make a good environment for everyone. And I think it's another to basically say that masculinity is bad.
If you take a closer...
So as far as I know, most people don't say masculinity is bad. They say that toxic masculinity is bad. Yeah, I know some people may conflate that. But that is a straw man. I always hear right-wingers do it. Okay. Masculinity, there are many different kinds of masculinity. There are healthy forms of masculinity.
Look at the glorification of war. The glorification is striking when you look at companies like Peter Thiel's Palantir. The ties between Silicon...
By the way, folks, for those who know what Lord of the Ring is, Mithril, I hope Mithril will definitely know. Okay, the Palantir, which is the name of Peter Thiel's company, you can even see the icon here in the middle. In Lord of the Rings, the Palantir is sort of this magical object that allows the big evil god-type character Sauron to spy, to see things all around the earth and to communicate with other people who have Palantirs. So it's hilarious that they call it Palantir. It's almost like they're admitting that they're the bad guys. I just find that hilarious.
Valley and the military-industrial complex run...
Absolutely, Matt Saiga. He did just say we need to celebrate aggression, which he is claiming is fundamentally masculine. It is not, okay? But he likes the toxic kind of masculinity, which is what he wants.
Very deep. A tech utopia led by strong men. The glorification of power, progress, masculinity, and military dominance now comes in a context of slick minimalist corporate advertising or image campaigns rather than the avant-garde art movement of futurism. Imagine a tech-driven future in which corporations rule the world, climate change destroyed entire cities, fixed social hierarchies exist, and Ryan Gosling slowly bleeding to death. I think we can all agree cyberpunk might look cool, but is a future nobody really wants. So how do I sell a future that will most likely happen, but with a less dystopian look? You've seen the line, right?
Oh, he's good. He's very good.
That's solarpunk. Solarpunk is meant to be the optimistic counterpart to cyberpunk. A utopian aesthetic where nature and technology coexist in harmony. It combines tradition, conservatism, and polished tech futurism at the same time. Solarpunk does indeed represent a certain counter-movement to neo-fascist concepts,
that is beautiful.
But there are dangerous tendencies into which the aesthetic could drift off. In the context of the so-called eco-fascism, authoritarian forces
So eco-fascism scares the hell out of me. You see this symbol right here in the center? That is the what is it? The Sonnenrad. It is classic fascist imagery. As a matter of fact, there is a castle. I can't remember the name of it in Germany, where the SS used to meet, and they used to hold these kind of weird occult rituals and sort of like these hazing rituals they would do for people who joined the SS. And on the floor of this ritual room is a giant black sun, or a giant Sonnenrad, which is exactly what this is. It is a occult far-right fascist symbol.
And be misused to emphasize blood and soil nationalism, population control, and racialized conservation. The danger is that the aesthetic of harmony with nature can be repurposed for exclusionary or nationalistic goals, an aesthetic that is used by nations such as Saudi Arabia or Israel. A polished visual world that is intended to whitewash the blood of regimes.
Yep.
An attempt to erase bad PR after entire populations have been erased. Solarpunk is an excellent Trojan horse to maintain the illusion of a tech utopia and to sell the people a beautiful image that's worth aspiring to and fighting for. This aesthetic takes on fascist traits when the utopian imagery basically only depicts white people, relies on Eurocentric aesthetics.
Yep. And also, by the way, folks, I like anime. I love anime, but and there's a lot of anime. A lot of anime art these days is being appropriated by the far right to sort of do dog whistle and stuff about Nazism and fascism and things like that. You'll notice there was an image of like I guess an anime woman. There's a lot of that out there, and it's really disturbing. A lot of these different art forms are being appropriated by fascists.
Or presents colonialist imagery that utopia becomes worth expanding for. Basically Helldivers.
And spread managed democracy throughout the galaxy. Become a hero. Become a legend. Become a Helldiver.
Oh, this is so good.
The fact that tech plays an almost religious role in Silicon Valley is not grounded.
Yeah, so they're okay. So anthropologists have a word for this. It's called fetishization. And every culture does this. They're like objects that are sacred. There are things that are sacred, and they become like a fetish, like not like a sexual fetish, but like something that is almost takes on a spiritual, religious kind of part to it. And a lot of these tech bros and stuff almost sort of worship technology. This guy, he knows what he's talking about. So this is perfect, what he's talking about here. And by the way, folks, technology is only good if it is used in good ways, right? The technology for technology's sake can lead to horrible consequences. So this sort of fetishization of technology is pretty bad. So I'm going to read some of these. Some people who Meowzor, people who lost control of their lives will gamble everything in a last strike to force society into their vision of the future. Yeah. Fascists promise a utopia at any cost. They'll vote for it. Exactly. Which is why, folks, thank you, Meowzor. You're very on fire there. Which is why I say, folks, what is the way to fight fascism? Make people give people a hope in a future where their democracy actually represents them, where they feel that their lives are worth living and stuff, and they're represented and they have economic security, because otherwise the fascists will be able to exploit their disenchantment. Okay, Macy, shooting games give you the ick. Matt Saiga, I missed the last few streams. What's with the Model United Nations applications Discord? So London is starting a Model United Nations for our Discord. If anyone wants to join, I used to be the advisor I used to go to competitions with my students for Model UN, and so I know London really likes this sort of thing. So we're going to try and do something like that in our Discord. Yeah, Alan. Oh my God, Alan, you're so right there. Peter Thiel really is kind of just like Lex Luthor. Yeah, we need radical reform. We need government. Matt Macy, you're after my own heart here. Macy, government for the people, by the people. Yes, absolutely. Is that so, Matt Saiga? You had an argument with your parents about technology fetishization with your parents the other day. That's fascinating. Let me know how that turned out for you. Yeah, Jonas, this is why Palantir terrifies me. Giving government and corporations software that lets you invade their life seems like a recipe for disaster. Right, Jonas? Right, absolutely. And we already had that issue in the U.S. previously, and this will just make it worse. If anyone knows Edward Snowden, I mean, yeah, and giving it to corporations, yeah, it's bad. It's very bad. Okay.
Breaking, especially when tech and consumer fetishism come together. Luckily, the tech bro cult isn't political at all.
He knows. He used the word fetishization there.
That's what they're saying, at least. The MAGA movement clearly has aesthetic similarities to cult-like structures. A selected messianic leader who will return America to its former glory and bring the elites to justice.
Remember what we talked about, folks. We're talking about Roger Griffin, the idea of palingenetic ultranationalism. The myth at the core of fascism is returning your country to some sort of mythological past, right? This is exactly what these people are advocating for.
Side, we will demolish the deep state. I am your voice. Today I add, I am your warrior. I am your justice. And for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution.
Of course, it's not just MAGA. Look at the AfD's Björn Höcke, for example. The aestheticization is just nowhere near as uniform and intimidating as it was in the 1920s. Mobilizing that way.
Look at that. This is from the AfD, which is I don't know, maybe JK or Winterlinde, if Winterlinde's here or JK's here. This sort of very similar sort of aesthetics to what we see in American fascism. The idea of this family, you know, father, mother, children, perfect, right? Perfect little family here. There are a lot of people who are brown, by the way, that live in Germany, a lot of Turkish people and things like that. But of course, all of these folks are all white. Almost all of them are blonde hair and blue-eyed. It is, okay. This sort of aesthetic is happening everywhere, even in Europe. So
it simply wouldn't work nowadays anymore. Numerous neo-fascist movements either collapsed or never gained momentum because of that. But the mystical nonsense is still there.
Exactly.
Similar to 1930s Nazi rhetoric of the Jewish well conspiracy, modern fascism.
So this is Der Stürmer. This was like the Nazi propaganda rag newspaper. It means like the stormer. And you can see here the image right here. Okay, we can see the stereotype going on here. This was a really gross. The guy who was the Streicher, Julius Streicher, was found guilty of war crimes at the Nuremberg trials for his disgusting propagandistic racist rants. It is kind of like Fox Entertainment and print. Macy, no joke. Jonas, didn't one of the main Nazi officials believe Germans were from a mythical race? Yeah. Oh, yes, Jonas. Yes. Himmler did. Hitler wasn't so much into the mystical stuff, but a lot of the people around him were. He actually kind of got annoyed with some of his top people because a lot of them had sort of weird occult, mystical beliefs. Yes, Jonas. That's a great call.
Is dependent on conspiracy theories and vice versa. They are mutually reinforcing systems. Conspiracism supplies the emotional fuel, while fascist movements channel that fuel into political action. The rise of digital ecosystems has accelerated this feedback loop.
So, folks, for those who don't know much about Germany or whatever, if you see this flag right here, okay, in Germany, it is illegal. It is illegal to have a swastika, like a political flag or anything with a swastika on it. So a lot of the far right in Germany will use the old German imperial flag, which is this one right here. So I want you to imagine that they'd probably be waving a swastika if they could, but instead but it's illegal, so they're using the German imperial flag. Notice what it's right next to: QAnon, a QAnon flag, and a flag of Donald Trump. QAnon, Donald Trump, what would be a swastika.
Making conspiracy-driven neo-fascism a growing global threat to democratic stability.
That's more
in the US, far-right movements strongly overlap with Christian fundamentalism, or in India, Hindu fundamentalism.
Yep. Modi from India is a Hindu nationalist, far-right lunatic, far-right monstrous lunatic fascist pig. Okay.
Afghanistan, Islamic fundamentalism, and in Israel, Jewish fundamentalism. Unlike in the 1920s, religion isn't just opportunistic. It's central, a nation and leader chosen by God, with the Bible as the highest law. Therefore, patriotism is your duty to show your gratitude towards your God. The fusion of fundamentalist religion with authoritarian nationalism.
Pastors socially distancing, mitigating, and walking with BLM. BLM, by the way, which is funded by Soros and founded by a lesbian Marxist who prays to Satan.
The esoteric.
Disgusting. Bettina, yes. A lot of times, Bettina, you're right. Bettina here says they also use our Confederate flag as a stand-in for the illegal flag. Yeah, Bettina, they do. I forgot about that, and you're right. Not a good sign for America, right? That anyway, okay. And a lot of people here just use it because they don't know what it means or they misinterpret it, though a lot of them do know what it means. Meowzord, did Nazis lean into grifting / plausible deniability, or is that a new fascist thing? I'm just saying my heart goes out to you. So Meowzord, there was some of that. Hitler would do that a lot. He would be like, he'd be like, oh, I'm so, like, his brown shirts would like burn down a synagogue or something, and then publicly he'd be like, oh yes, and he'd kind of get a smirk on his face and say like, oh yes, my heart goes out to you. Now he wouldn't use that phrase, but I will say modern fascists are a bit more subtle about it than the Nazis were. Most of the time the Nazis were kind of blunt, but they did use some of that sort of
occult mysticism of the Nazis is replaced with Christian aesthetics. It's also, of course, not an exclusive US-based phenomena. When looking at other nations, religious fundamentalism is...
So, okay, these are Buddhist monks. And they're saying every race has good and bad people. So a lot of times when we think about religious groups, people forget that there are Buddhists who are extremely right-wing, and hate lots of religious groups. Anyway, just interesting.
It's often used to justify the power hierarchy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Rohingya. That was a genocide that is occurred in Myanmar against a Muslim minority group called the Rohingya.
Linking one's own nationality with supposedly sacred values produces a threatened image of identity that must be regained. It not only produces a longing for the past, but also a fear of losing this collective identity, culture, and supposed values. Drifting off into Fantasyland serves one clear purpose: to manufacture the illusion of a deep ancient foundation
this is gonna make me cry.
For their ideology.
Oh god.
Nostalgia for the past is still a major theme. Instead of addressing concrete changes in living conditions, people are promised a return to some traditional good old days like the 1950s or Reagan's 1980s in the US, Russia.
That might partially be why, like, I was on the verge of tears. There is the emotion of that organ music mixed with that violent imagery of what fascists are doing everywhere. Absolutely.
With the Soviet Union or Germany with trying to bring back traditions in order to revive a lost culture, a lost nation. How this is exactly supposed...
Disgusting. So look here, folks. This was posted by Homeland Security. This is a famous image in American history. This is symbolic of what was called manifest destiny, this belief of Americans that they had a destiny to settle with the Western United States. And I want you, let's look at this, let's analyze this real fast, okay? So it says here at the top by Homeland Security, a heritage to be proud of, a homeland worth defending. Notice in this image, the right side of this image is bright, there is light, there's images of technological advance, there's like trains and stuff, and on this side, what do we see? We see darkness, and what's right here? These are Native Americans fleeing, running. Okay, the darkness being natives, a lesser culture according to Americans at the time, while a mother, Lady Liberty in her bright garb with the light shining in, pushes them off their land with technological advance and settlement. This is disgusting. A heritage to be proud of. I mean, this is genocidal. This is a genocidal image right here. This is genocidal propaganda.
To improve the lives of the people. Don't ask, bro. It just feels right, bro.
And it's not just the culture that's lost, it's masculinity too. And weirdly, it's exactly the same narrative as in the 1920s. And for all its rebranding, far-right aesthetics constantly recycle the same old Greek, Roman, Nordic masculinity tropes, propagating.
This is sort of a side note just to kind of help us all chill out here. What's interesting is that the Romans and the Greeks, they didn't think a man's genitalia should be too large. They thought it was less attractive. So it is kind of funny that the modern day fascists are sort of replicating that, because in all the Greek statues and stuff, you'll notice that the genitalia, like, I know this is kind of a weird thing to mention, the genitalia is not that prominent. Let's put it that way.
The same message Mishima would be proud of. Having a strong body is moral, and men with weaker bodies are immoral.
Again, folks, this is why I say feminism is good for men too, right? That feminism does away with that notion of masculinity, that a man has to have like this perfect body that is muscular and physically fit and things like that. Okay, and the far right, that's all they're about. Is like, you think about Andrew Tate, all those manosphere people who are constantly like talking about working out and having a strong body and things like that. That is not the measure of a man, obviously. Okay, anyway.
Okay, we are now slowly getting into online culture war. This is the Goofy Zone. Everything I'm showing you now is very stupid, cringe, and laughable. You could basically repeat everything I said in my previous video about fascist masculinity, hypermasculinity, aggression, dominance, strength, back to tradition, militarization of the male body.
What can be mentioned, however, is the hustle culture.
Absolutely amazing.
While in the past Jim Bro aesthetics were already big in the 1920s, linking physical pride and strength with money or cars is a more recent twist. A serious consumption of hustle content could potentially lead to even more content tailored towards young men. Fitness, routines, self-help content, then to apolitical podcast bros, dating advices, and lastly, why the man crisis really exists.
A deep dive into this pipeline can be seen here.
Disgusting. Look at that. Be a man, and they're showing all these images of like lions going after prey, soldiers, and things like that. That is not, especially for the men in chat, that is not a healthy conception of masculinity at all. At all.
In line with today's irony-poisoned social media zeitgeist, the manosphere aesthetic doesn't even live up to its own ideals. Right, neither did many men in the 90s.
Yeah, look at that. This is 100% true, right? It does not. The hypermasculinity of fascists never lives up to its ideal, especially amongst the leadership of fascist nations. Hell, look at Trump. Is he the same kind of pinnacle of muscularity and things like that? Definitely Hitler wasn't. This is Ernst Röhm on the right. Yeah, no.
20s and 30s, of course. But hypocrisy has reached new heights these days.
We literally ended up in this position because everyone's a fucking...
Right, Jonas?
That's how we ended up here.
I made a whole video...
Did he just say... I'm sorry, I missed that. Did he just say everyone's a...
But hypocrisy has reached new heights these days.
We literally ended up in this position because everyone's a fucking... That's how we ended up here.
Yeah, I thought he said
made
that.
a whole video about this as well.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is hilarious. This image right here, them standing shirtless in the rain. Look at us. We can take water on our bodies and, we still stand here firm. This is moronic. This is laughable.
If you're interested. It's now more prevalent than ever that behind all theatrics and flexing hides deep insecurity that has to be overplayed. I mean, if you have to use filters and music to reinforce your toughness, don't be surprised when people think you're still stuck in puberty.
Looking at the optics of online bro culture alone can actually be very cute, seeing these softies staging themselves as some stoic philosophical hero online. And I'm a softie too. But I'm not pretending like I'm not.
I think it's none of your business, but I don't want you to think I'm triggered by you. I'm not. Okay. I saw somebody say that.
Okay, I'm sorry. There are so many things in this scene I am curious about, or maybe disturbed about. First of all, what is this woman doing back here with this? Is that a German imperial helmet? Like, what is going on? Okay, I'm going to go back. I was too busy focusing on everything happening in the room.
not.
I think it's none of your business, but I don't want you to think I'm triggered by you. I'm
Right,
not.
Krista?
I saw somebody say that, and I think that's interesting. I think you're annoying, but I'm not triggered.
And like every overdramatic theater kid, you
Right,
just
Jonas?
can't help yourself telling everyone how hard your life is.
I'm sorry. I need to go.
I saw somebody say that, and I think that's interesting.
Sorry.
You're still stuck in puberty.
Looking at the optics of online bro culture alone can actually be very cute, seeing these softies staging themselves as some stoic philosophical hero online. And I'm a softie too, but I'm not pretending like I'm not.
I think it's none of your business, but I don't want you to think I'm triggered by you. I'm not.
Okay.
I saw
Okay. Automatically, he's triggered, right? He's triggered. His snowflake emotions. He can't handle a little bit of probably soft criticism from a woman, right? Which goes back what this guy was saying. This sort of hyper masculinity highlights deep insecurities. Deep insecurities, right? If you can't take criticism, I don't know what she said, but you can't take a little bit of criticism without being like, I'm not triggered. I'm not okay, yeah, we buddy, calm down. Okay, we can see that you're having an emotional breakdown. It's okay.
somebody say that, and I think that's interesting. I think you're annoying, but I'm not triggered.
And like every overdramatic theater kid, you just can't help yourself telling everyone how hard your life is, how much you struggle your whole life, when in reality, you might have no idea what real struggle is. So you have to pretend like you do. I have no idea myself. I don't know what it's like. I'm privileged. What differentiates this from this is that one of them is more honest and mature than the other.
Yeah.
As
on a side note, folks, in medieval Europe, the knights, which is kind of like almost like a archetype of masculinity, it was considered more masculine at the time for male knights to cry, to express themselves. It was considered a brave act of masculinity to do those things. I think we should get back. Now, we shouldn't get back to the knighthood version of masculinity, but like you can have a masculinity that is about, where it's brave and stuff for men to express emotions and things like that.
Usual nowadays, everything is just shit and
Right,
giggles
Matt,
until you realize what real world consequences this has.
Obesity comes from you Jews.
Oh, of course. Look, Destiny sitting here. Great. Love that. I'm going to go back a little bit. I missed part of that.
Usual nowadays, everything is just shit and giggles until you realize what real world consequences this has.
Obesity comes from you Jews affecting our media.
They have taught us World War II history like we're children. And they freaked out when I shared a BBC documentary, no less, because they had tried to wipe this from the universe about how Germans were ethnically cleansed. Stalin's, there's a book written by a guy, last name Kaufman, I'm blanking on the first name, where he said it's Germany must perish.
You know who else said Germany must perish? Hitler. During the last days of the Reich, he famously said that the Germans have demonstrated that they're too weak to survive as a nation, and we ought to destroy Berlin and just level all of Germany because they cannot survive. They are weak.
As absurd as the appearance might seem, there are unfortunately many who might laugh at it at first, but then start taking parts of it seriously. What started out as an ironic joke slowly turns into, well, there might be something to it. The absurdity and especially the irony works great as a shield against criticism. Because, hey, none of this was really serious, right? Boys inside the manosphere love to identify themselves with characters from pop culture. Whether it's Thomas Shelby, Patrick Bateman, or so-called edgelord characters like Joker or Eren Yeager. Edgelord characters are particularly popular with incels because they see themselves in them. You know, the
oftentimes completely misinterpreting those characters when they do so, but regardless.
Understood outsider of society who are the actual victims. Or just straight up Nazi Superman. Edgelords break taboos or cross boundaries to provoke, often through sarcastic, dark humor. This mindset is clearly reflected in their visual aesthetics. That's why it's common to see references to provocative imagery involving extreme figures like Nazis, mass shooters, or serial killers in incel subculture. These are often used to grab attention to epically trigger snowflakes who take everything too seriously. The dehumanizing ideology of incels is especially visible in the cartoon-like portrayals of racist offensive caricatures like Chads, Janks, or Tyrones. These exaggerated figures may come with a tone of ironic dark humor, but are clearly ill-intended and just plain cruel. The caricatures closely resembles anti-Semitic cartoons or other forms of dehumanizing.
Yeah, see, remember what I was saying earlier? A lot of the imagery I see online from the right wing, it reminds me of some of the old, real racist propaganda from World War II, especially from fascists, but also from America.
Propaganda from the past. Unlike the Nazis, who used eugenics to justify racial hierarchies, incels used eugenics to measure attractiveness based on external traits. This reinforces the fascist tone of their visual symbolism. The value of a human being becomes quantifiable. The higher your attractiveness, the higher your worth.
Because remember, folks, fascism is all about the aesthetics and emotion. It is not about rationality. They want to recreate a world in a way that is aesthetically pleasing to them. Okay.
I was actually trying to avoid the topic of incels because this frankly seems like a bottomless pit. The aesthetics of incel ideology deserve their own deep dive, so I'll be covering that in a future video. In a nutshell, men and women believe in fixed hierarchies in society. They have scorn for women, glorify violence, emasculate men, see themselves as victims, talk about conquering women, are fundamentally anti-feminist, justify or belittle assault, hate queer people, and love minors?
This guy did his research. Oh my God. Props to him. I need to subscribe to this channel. He's hitting all the points there. We've talked about this in chat before, folks. Like those are like all the points of fascism right there, what he just listed. And I don't think he read Umberto Eco. He just kind of was able to figure this out himself, I suspect.
I am so done with the manosphere, man. Let's just move on. What's next?
I'm going to pause. I just want to read some of the chats really fast, folks, because there's a lot of good ones here, it looks like. Yasan, and it's literally evidence of him discussing an ex based off the time frame she was 15. That's disgusting. I'm not surprised, Jonas. Yeah, and they keep saying women are emotional and things like that, but you can tell, like they're the ones that they can't take any criticism. They break down immediately. Yeah, Grin. Everyone needs to cry. Crying, by the way, is healthy for you. It really is. Toy, thank God I'm a lesbian. Thank God well, actually, maybe not thank God I'm a gay man because I got to deal with some of this stuff. But yeah. Okay, Meowzord, I don't need therapy. Suppress emotion and descends into sociopathy. Yeah, you're right, Meowzord. I mean, it is deeply unhealthy for a man's mental health to have to bury these things. And I love how they're always saying they're standing up, but remember, they're doing horrible damage to men and the male psyche by doing these things. Resident Union Thug, yeah, emotional regulation is super important. Emotional regulation is so important and so missing. To emotionally regulate, you need to be able to recognize feelings, process them, which is the opposite of what these people preach. 100%, it's all about suppression of emotion. Resident Union Thug, Corbin M. So many alpha bros have such annoying, grating voices. Think Jordan Peterson. That might be a sign of something, Corbin. That might be part of the reason they are the way they are. They have this deep insecurity about things. And to be honest, it is kind of sad. It's like, buddy, we don't care. Like, you're a human. Why are you anyway? Macy Schroeder, I can't get over how anyone takes Miller or RFK Jr. seriously. Absolutely, Macy. Yeah, it makes you feel attacked there, Jonas. MK Ultra, which by the way, we're going to do a stream on sometime. I'll talk about MK Ultra. These meatheads speak through the emotional intelligence of a child with a mild understanding of a dictionary. 100% MK Ultra. Matt Saigai, I hate it when people use the word dark humor as a veil for misogyny, sexism, and hatred towards the LGBTQ. 100%. I'm sure we all seen this, especially online. It's a good way to deflect criticism. If you're like, oh, I'm just being funny, it's just dark humor. No, buddy, you're not. Okay. Alan W., the stuff that gets openly said about Ilhan Omar is pretty disgusting too. Yeah, it is. Okay. And it has a lot of misogyny, Islamophobia. Long Beach Dragon, I'm just going to put this out there. Plato said the measure of a man is what he does with power. Yes. Or put another way, we're more familiar with absolute power corrupts absolutely. Correct. Okay. Long Beach Dragon, a man is measured by the good he does, not by his ability to conquer and dominate. Exactly. That is a healthy version of masculinity, Long Beach Dragon. You're right. The idea of what good do you do for others, okay? Luke, I have always thought you should try to leave the world a better place, right? And that's what my parents taught me a lot. That's what a lot of men learn. These guys are trying to destroy that. Okay, Fox Emblem 1. Personally, I'd say we live in a competitive authoritarian dictatorship currently, which is really bad. Oh, we absolutely do, Fox Emblem. And by the way, I did see your message on Discord, Fox Emblem. I will be talking about that. Kimberly, Jean, and what is with these guys in a suit with their shirt ripped open halfway down their chest? Does that equal manly? Apparently, Kimberly, apparently it does. Jonas Hassan, the fact that all the red pill manosphere guys preach about how much hotter youth is, yeah, it's really gross. It's really gross. And the link between child abuse and things like that in a lot of these guys is pretty apparent. Right, Meowzord, Trump was just joking. They always say that, okay? Kimberly Jan, no wonder younger women stay single. Yeah, and that's what the stats show. A lot of younger women are either staying single or they're dating older men, because a lot of the younger men have been deeply inculcated or indoctrinated by the manosphere people. Okay, guys, let's continue.
Oh no.
Pronouns!
Yeah, I know. We're all tired of Gamergate. Me too. But if you want to talk about far-right aesthetics, we can't ignore the most ridiculous, embarrassing, and stupid corner of the internet. One that heavily overlaps with the manosphere. Gamers. It's pointless to try and have a political conversation with many male gamers, since they will insist they're totally apolitical. They just want to keep politics out of their games. Right?
Yeah, that illusion.
Steve Bannon? You can...
By the way, folks, even if they're not apolitical, but even if they were, if you're apolitical while fascists are taking over, you're on the side of the fascists. That is just how that works, okay? Because the fascists are like a moving train, and if you're just standing there being like, I'm apolitical, and you're just watching this moving train happen, you are benefiting the fascists. Alan says, Mark Maron made a good point about Rogan and his orbiters. What do you have against trans people? What do you have against immigrants? They are down, basically criticizing them for punching down. Yeah. And this is why I always say, look up. Look up. The fascists may want to make you look down. They want you to punch down. The enemies are above you, okay? It's the wealthy. It is the people at the top who are picking your pocket while people are punching down. Yeah, Andrew Tate really corrupted the children. Tiago, hey, I'm a gamer too, okay? XQC, yep. Asmongold, yep. Joe wrote, yep. All of these folks, yeah.
Activate that army. They come in through Gamergate or whatever and then get turned onto politics and Trump. If you're part of a fandom or a gamer and chronically online, you've definitely seen these thumbnails, right? Very similar to the ones floating around in the manosphere bubble. Women in these thumbnails are often emotionally hysterical or hypersexualized. Or it's Rachel Zegler? These apolitical, edgy, basement-dwelling free speech warriors just want to protect the last sacred safe space for men. A place that's safe from being feminized. The last manly refuge where real men can still be men. Real men.
And I'm so tired of the world being dictated by emotions and feelings, and we have to accept everybody even though they don't accept us.
Who is this guy? I've never seen this guy before. I don't know who this is, but yeah, I mean, you can tell that underneath the surface here, he has a lot of buried emotions. It's like, buddy, just express yourself. Why are you going after this other people? Because you are having an emotional issue here, okay? The shirt he's wearing and stuff. I know I wear like these kind of shirts, but obviously I'm not like ripped like this guy, but like attempting to compensate for other deficiencies he feels he may have by doing this.
And this new era is just a bunch of fucking pussy, limp dick, soy boy. Due to this all being resurfaced by Hassan, I suppose I will no longer be interacting with my father in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
On my stream.
So, how does this protectors of masculinity visually manifest?
But you're gonna fucking get a PDF, a fucking pedophile. You're gonna get a predator. He's a pedophile.
I don't know who this person is. I guess Dr. Disrespect is what it says here. But yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, I think I could kind of predict that from how he presents himself, like just from how the emote, like how he's speaking and stuff, that he was doing something to a minor, of course.
Proven pedophile.
Shut the fuck up. Who are these fucking weirdos, man? Whew.
Memes, anime, and pop culture characters.
It's like memeing into existence a government agency.
And then speaking to the internet the way it likes to be spoken to, which is memes, actually.
The left can't meme.
Harris' campaign was trolling Trump.
They're already trolling him.
He has been trying to troll the city back as much as he believes he's been trolled.
It's epic trolling, shall we say.
Just makes trolls like myself very happy.
I am become meme. Yeah, pretty much.
Bro, propaganda back then actually kind of slapped, but now we have this.
Du wirst abgeschossen.
They especially love using Wojak memes, like the stoic men who don't get triggered unlike those liberal SJW soy boys. Which is so fucking ironic. There's the NPCs, the chats, the soy faces, and so on and so on. And just to show you how painfully uncreative the right usually is, they constantly recycle the same old memes over and over and over again. Doge, laser red eyes, thug life, epic troll, and dear God, if someone is still unironically using Pepe the Frog outside of a streaming context, it's a massive red flag.
I've had a lot of Pepes commenting on my videos on YouTube.
The fascist appropriation of Pepe has been thoroughly documented, and it's still a favorite among white supremacists and incels, the Groyper version especially. But Wojak memes are currently the newest victims of appropriation, which frustratingly is pretty smart. Like, try explaining to someone who's not online all the time that a fucking frog or Wojak could be a Nazi symbol. They understandably think I've lost my damn mind. What the fuck is Wojak? Solarpunk, Trump is Jesus, Jim Bros, Brie Larson, gamers, fucking memes, and now anime.
Yeah, good. He's going to talk about that.
Let's make this very...
I'm going to pause it here, folks. I saw a couple good chats here, a lot of good chats. There are some very good gamers on YouTube. Don't get me wrong there. Mithril, Santos was right about one thing. He definitely is a troll, that's for sure. Long Beach Dragon, LNW, Gavin Newsom will meme his way to the president. Don't worry, guys. Okay. Luke, that is the whole plan. Keep the poor fighting each other while the rich rob them blind. Right. Okay. MK Ultra Orphanage. I studied Plato for my thesis. Got any takes on Plato's cave? MK Ultra. I think you know that is almost a perfect an allegory for what we see happening here. The sort of mimicking of reality through the use of puppets and things like that. Yeah, great reference there, MK Ultra. Maybe we'll talk about Plato's cave sometime on stream. Macy, were they the OG AI psychosis? Kind of, yeah. Alan W. Conservatives are inherently unfunny. There's a reason why every great comedian has leftist values. Exactly, absolutely, Alan W. It is not funny to punch down for most people. For some people, apparently it is. Right? Real life Catty J, it's the most low effort shit. I swear to God, I know, right? It is. Okay. Jonas Hassan, I do love anime, but there's this weird VTuber sexualizing youngish cartoon characters in streaming these days. Oh, I know, Jonas. I discovered that recently in the Discord. Okay. Yeah. For those who know, if you know, you know. Okay. Jonas Hassan, maybe it's just me, but I find VTubers creepy. Yeah. Some of them are. Some of them definitely are. Okay. All right, guys, let's continue.
Clear again. Just because you like some of the same things a fascist will like doesn't mean you're fascist, nor am I implicating you are one. I love gaming, anime, and Star Wars too. But, bro, how am I not supposed to talk about anime aesthetics when you constantly see this kind of shit?
Yeah, that is good. That's an SS helmet.
What another creator, the Cover Knuckle, noticed is that a particular subgenre of anime is especially popular in these circles. Mo anime girls. Cute, innocent, mostly underage, sometimes sexualized anime girls.
Disgusting.
Now, we're getting into the really weird stuff. Putting aside the pedo vibes, this kind of cutesy aesthetic whitewashes all meaning. Suddenly, friendly fascism becomes quite literal. Anime aesthetics are perfect for whitewashing, softening or trivializing imagery that would normally be seen as fucked up. It once again shields itself behind irony and dark humor to delegitimize criticism. This entirely online bubble is so bizarrely fascinating.
I just think it's uniquely gross to have these young girls kind of flirting with Nazis and being sexualized. I'm even having trouble looking at it. It's just uniquely gross, in my opinion.
To watch because they're so hyper online, so niche that even the people who agree with the ideology still find them.
Alan, I would love to do George Carlin reactions. I'd have to figure out what about the copyright. George Carlin's one of my favorite comedians. At least he was. He passed away, of course.
Ultra weird.
Yeah, biological value.
Why does he have so many A1 sauces in the background? Anyway, also, this is a famous image of a jester from Poland. This guy, what's happening here, folks? This is actually, sorry, let me do a little brief history. So back here is the king, and the jester was trying to recommend something to the king and beg him to do something because the king was, I can't remember what it was about to do something that was really horrific, and he could not convince the king, and so he came into this room and kind of sat down in despair, and this is the painting, okay? So for all us jester lovers, love this image. I actually kind of want this image for my wall, but
exactly, like that's a lot of women have like an intrinsic innate value because they can have kids, and so whenever they're older and they're not able to have kids or for whatever reason that's not really as viable, then their biological value goes down in the eyes of a lot of guys. That's it.
Oh my god, it has been gross.
Yeah, beauty is their whole selling point. Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, the kid from The Last of Us isn't enough for us anymore. Hollywood's gone too woke ever since Harvey Weinstein left. Like, listen to yourself.
The movie stars are not as attractive anymore. I think women got uglier in movies ever since Harvey Weinstein left.
Oh, God help me. Oh, Jesus Christ. That is so gross. That is so gross. I can't even. Oh.
Yo, that's almost Andrew Tate level.
God, even that's Kanye, right? Even Kanye was like, "That's bullshit. That's a bad sign." If Kanye thinks what you're saying is lunatic,
games and movies aren't dying or under threat because of black Jewish trans women who are over 18 who don't want to fuck, or Brie Larson or pronouns. You are being manipulated and used by greedy corporations, grifters, and politicians, and you don't even realize it.
Welcome to chat, Matthew.
Can't get any stupider, right?
All my niggas, Nazis, nigga.
Oh God! What?
Okay, I'll be real, guys. Listen.
What was that song? What is that? Okay.
Listen, I'm Jewish. You guys know that. Hitler was a great leader. What he did was wrong. I obviously but he was a good leader.
What does a fascist mean?
Oh.
It means
I have seen this. This moron is like, what's a fascist? What's a fascist?
A far right authorization on ultra.
Remember, folks, fascists don't read. They don't know. They're not exactly intellectuals. Not exactly intellectuals. Right, me too, Corbin. Definitely puking.
Ultranalytic. Oh my God.
Yeah. This definitely needs a whole video of its own.
What? Hey, Krista.
To set you free.
Oh no, is this the Gaza thing? This is so deeply immoral. I cannot even put this into words.
The light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here.
Oh.
Trump Gaza shining bright. Golden future, a brand new life. Feast and dance, the deal is done.
No.
Trump Gaza, number one. Trump Gaza shining bright. Golden future, a brand new life. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one.
This is unsurprisingly the wet dream of the far right. Unoriginal, unappropriative, and hostile. AI is the pinnacle of all of it, not a shred of originality or creativity. So, of course, fascists love using it. What a lot of people notice especially, politicized AI slop is almost exclusively used by right-wing actors. But why? Writer Gareth Watkins argues that generative AI models primarily attacks copywriters, graphic designers, or artists, jobs associated with young, educated, urban, and often left-leaning workers. Imagine the White House hiring an artist to giblify on a crying immigrant getting handcuffed by ICE agents. Ridiculousness aside, why should they waste any state resources when they can do this for free? There isn't just an utter contempt for art in general, but also for people and labor, creating depthless imagery that yields only the reading that its creator intended. No room for interpretations, self-reflection, or any value that typically comes from actual.
Okay, I want everyone to reflect for a moment. That image back there of like the tanks heading towards Harvard and those others images, you have to understand what is the emotional response when a fascist sees that. It's joy, right? It's joy, it's elation. Just remember that. Like, we look at this and we get disgusted, but for a fascist, they see that and they feel this sense of joy welling up inside of them, this kind of sense of liberation. That is absolutely a scary thought. It blows my mind.
Self-reflection or any value that typically comes from actual art. Grog, is this true? One of the reasons why I called Nazi art soulless and empty in meaning in my previous video is their absence of soul and thought-provoking avant-garde bravery. Like the Italian futurists had, they instead insisted on the same heroic, romantic, conservative optics that were close to classical Greek and Roman art. The same realist, classicist slop over and over again, reproduced to death. Using art as a politicized weapon to reinforce norms.
By the way, women in most old fascist art are almost always looking away from the artist, which is now this one isn't as bad because these women are fully dressed, but it's essentially which is sort of a pornographic way to view women, where they're never making eye contact, they're always looking away. It's just for the viewer to be looking at them, if you see what I mean. It's not a two-way thing. It is the viewers looking at the women, they're looking away, okay, and they're kind of an object to be viewed. You see that in every piece of fascist art from that time.
National myths into society. But hey, at least an actual skilled artist was involved in the making of those pieces. And as flat and propagandizing the art maybe was, at least it looked good. And Leni Riefenstahl is to this day being taught in film schools.
Yeah.
Where are far-right artists now? Today, the same reproduction of politicized art can be made at mass scale, without the use of any artists whatsoever. The right-wing aesthetic project is to flood the zone with bullshit in order to erode the intellectual foundations for resisting political cruelty. AI co-ops art and is perverting it. The ultimate weapon is aestheticization. The original artworks the AI models are trained on are being endlessly and endlessly reproduced, therefore softened, diluted, until the substance of the original piece is completely rinsed out. Historical events, fascist ideologies, even war crimes or genocidal fantasies are being transformed into superficial, aestheticized content.
Yep.
Everything.
And by the way, with the amount of that content that's out there, it numbs people to it. It makes it more invisible. It becomes normalized. If you keep seeing it and stuff, it becomes sort of a fixture of everyday life. And we saw that in Nazi Germany. The constant, everywhere were Nazi flags, everywhere was Nazi imagery. Even if you hated it, eventually your brain would shut it out and it would just become normalized.
Is made beautiful. The obscene is being normalized.
Hey, you got
Everything becomes Tumblr core slop. And we're still in the very early stages of AI content. The pinnacle will be deepfakes. Once deepfakes become normalized, we'll have reached the final stage of total meaninglessness. Deepfakes are the ultimate tool of oppression.
In a September 2019 survey, researchers at DeepTrace found that of the deepfake videos they could identify online, 96% were pornographic.
It's going to get real ugly. Memes, AI slop, pronouns, like, we've lost our sense of shame. Nothing is obscene anymore. And if anyone gets offended, just say it was edgy, ironic humor.
Yep.
At least fascists in the past had the f***ing balls to be honest about it.
You were a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Right, Macy?
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say I'm a fascist.
Yeah,
okay,
I
I'm
am.
triggered. See that guy?
Listen to me. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like...
Oh my god.
I should get the hell out.
Yes.
Why? I don't want you here.
Has our reality really become Reddit? Or worse, 4chan? Look at this clown and tell me he's not the embodiment of Reddit. But Musk and Trump are just symptoms of our time, a mirror reflecting how the world works. Narcissistic rich white men grifting their way to the top only to hoard even more wealth and power for themselves.
Yeah, my heart to you, my ass.
The most powerful country on earth is now basically a f***ing content house. Everything is content now, a spectacle, masking politics through optics and emotionalization in order to make it suitable for mass consumption.
I remember what I said, folks. Fascism is all about emotionalization, aesthetic rationalism, how it makes people feel. It makes them feel empowered. It makes them have this sense of like a glorious future is yet to come. It's all about emotion. Rationality gets thrown out the window.
We truly live in the dumbest timeline imaginable.
Have they trained alligators to actually hunt the inmates? Is Tom Homan riding around in a fan boat? Is Donald Trump in the watchtower with a pair of binoculars?
And the worst part, it fucking works. Turning everything into ironic, memeable content has made everything meaningless. The restraints on fascist rhetoric are gone. The previously unthinkable is now normalized.
Yep.
No shame.
He knows this shit.
No consequences. And no wonder no one takes you seriously when you call something fascist. Because you're right. It has lost its meaning. Which is the point.
You guys, I'm going to briefly check some of these messages in chat. We'll get back to it. Primary sources of contemporary propaganda. Absolutely. Absolutely. Krista, yo, even Kanye, that's when you know you grow. Absolutely, Krista. Like Kanye even was like, that's a bit much. That's crazy. I can't believe our president put this out. I know the Gaza stuff, absolutely disgusting. Alan W., I'm convinced a lot of evangelicals are Zionists because they want to do the same thing in America. Oh, for sure, Alan. That's like a deep, disgusting fantasy they have about ethnically cleansing the United States. Long Beach Dragon, I really, really, really could have gone my entire life not seeing a shirtless, flabby Trump, right? Okay, Matt Saigai, I will never understand this shit. Like, how are they so stupid that they think the Nazis would side with them? I know, Matt Saigai, and there was a famous historian, I can't remember his name, who said that the end of Nazism would have been basically Hitler and his inner circle killing basically everyone but themselves, because you always have to have an enemy. So even if they won the war, they would still have to keep coming up with enemies for the state to exist. And so they would eventually start killing their own, fellow Nazis and things like that. Meowzord, I feel like the video of this little girl who tries wasabi for the first time. Help, yeah. Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay, Krista, the joy of for destruction education. Yeah. That is what deeply disturbs me is, when you're studying fascism, you kind of have to try and get into the mind of a fascist. And when you start seeing the world through their eyes, it becomes deeply disturbing. The joy that these people feel at a lot of these images, the sense of empowerment it gives them. Because remember, fascism is a lot about exploiting people's sense of losing power and not being powerless. So these images are like empowering and bring joy and like almost ecstasy to a lot of people. You're right. Matt Saigai. The far right loves technology but hates science. It was the same with the Nazis. Mithril. For many years, the right-wing press here in the UK, almost all of it, vilified media studies, a degree course. I didn't realize it at the time, but it's to keep people media literate. Would not be surprised, Mithril. Same thing is happening here. 9/11 country music absolutely supported war. Macy. That's a great example. Alan, the official ICE Twitter account routinely posts literal Nazi propaganda. I have seen that. And again, normalizing it. Meowsor, did you ever watch the anime Paprika? It reminds me of when Meaningless Circus comes out in reality. I have not, but I would love to see that, Meowsord. Long Beach Dragon, Alan W., that is actually troubling since federal agencies do not have freedom of speech. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. And yet they do it anyway. Toy. It's kind of bread and circuses, right? It is. It absolutely is. And that's what fascist leaders do. Like the people at the top, they exploit that feeling of powerlessness and use it as a distraction by kind of propping it up and to make people feel good by, these displays of authoritarianism and things like that. Tiago, what's the name of this video? It's called The New Aesthetics of Fascism. Who is this on video? I am not sure, Kimberly. Sorry, that you may have said that earlier, but okay, let's continue. And just a reminder, folks, if we get 4 more super chats, I'll put on some Jester makeup. But if we don't get it, it's not the end of the world. I'm just enjoying being here with all of you.
The aspect of friendly fascism is the distraction from class war to culture war. Because we remembered. Fascist victimhood drives away from material conditions to a narrative that's mostly based on emotions, scapegoats, and conspiracies. And what better way to hand out megaphones to the working class to express their frustrations than with the use of social media? This is the perfect megaphone, as expressions can now be monetized, more manipulated and controlled via algorithms, AI bots, or outright censorship by insecure CEOs. We now live in a deeply, mutually dependent globalized economy that forces fascism to change its tactics. It can't appear as militant and loud as before, that's too obvious. The rising influence of private companies and therefore unelected officials in politics slowly replaces the interests of the people into the interest of profit. Within the framework
I think we're well beyond that, unfortunately. I think we've already gotten there where the interests of the people are no longer even, there's sort of a afterthought, if it thought at all.
Anti-fascism, this culture war is not merely reactionary rhetoric, but a structural tool of governance. By mobilizing cultural anxieties and moral panics, an authority-oriented worldview is normalized, one that increasingly influences media, education, academia, and jurisprudence. This dynamic gives rise to a form of soft authoritarianism. While democratic structures remain intact, they are substantively hollowed out through normative pressure, production of enemy images, and discursive polarization. To achieve higher profits.
That's interesting. I've never heard that idea of soft authoritarianism, but that makes total sense.
Nations are now seen as businesses with privatized military-industrial complexes. In order to maximize profits, the working class needs to be repressed as much as possible to extract the maximal amount of capital out of their.
Remember what we said, folks? So we talked about the Marxist interpretation of fascism, how it is a way to overcome the class conflict and allows the state to crack down on the working class during times of economic distress. This is a perfect example of that.
Labor, cheap production, higher profits.
I'm going to pause it real fast. Krista, let me answer that for you. That's an important question. How do we stop putting the interest of making profit over the interest of the well-being of people in society? First of all, Krista, we need major reforms. We need to make sure that politicians aren't elected because they're being bribed by major corporations and the wealthy, which is what's happening currently in the United States. That's just how the system works. Campaign contributions. There's a lot of reforms we need, Krista. That's how you do that. And it won't be easy, but that's what we need.
That means repressing unions, protests, deregulations, privatization, expanding police force, increasing surveillance, integrating the 3 separations of power, invading countries for resources, so far and so forth. Violence is now primarily executed with a gun, yet, but with paper. Bureaucratic violence. Just look at Project 2025, the US healthcare system, or basically any asylum process or unemployment help. To soften or rather distract from a negative image, corporates use woke virtue signaling to promote their inclusivity and allyship. Corporates knowingly or unknowingly help fascist movements to flourish, as long as it protects their capital. Why else do you think Musk supported only far-right parties in Europe? Fascism, with the help of an oligarchy, now comes in the form of boring, bland corporatism.
Remember, folks, what we talked about with the 5 stages of fascism. The economic elites always end up siding with the fascists because they'd rather have fascism than a left-wing movement, changes that infringe upon their profits. That's exactly what we're seeing under the Trump administration.
That slowly creeps its way into society. Neoliberalism needs fascism to survive. They go hand in hand. Because we can literally see that this system doesn't work anymore. Global
Yes.
crisis,
Oh my God, I
inequality,
love him.
war and suffering are at the rise because neoliberalism is not a sustainable model. The
Is he
top
gay? I'm
1%
gonna
of the
marry
world's
him.
population own more wealth than 95% of humanity. 95. Each one of us is losing trust in the system, and therefore in democracy. According to the Leipzig authoritarianism study in 2024, only 42% of people in Germany are still satisfied with democracy as it functions. That's a drop of 15% since 2022. And in East Germany, that number plummeted from 53.5% to 29.7%. Meanwhile,
heard of
racist
abundance.
attitudes in the West
Balance.
jumped from 12.6% to 19.3%. In the East, it's still high at 31.5%. And around 1 in 5 people are now openly showing sympathy for authoritarian alternatives.
You see the problem here, folks. This is why you cannot stand in the center, okay? You keep things going the way they are, it'll be a natural trend towards more and more people turning to far right-wing ideologies, and then we'll be, I mean, we're already in a shithole, but if you want to go beneath the shithole, if you want to go straight to hell, that's where we're heading. We cannot stand in the center. We need major changes. Have I emphasized this enough?
Like dictatorship or a strong male leader. Fascists exploit this by tapping into the collective frustration. They amplify the feeling of despair and offer people an outlet for their rage. But actually helping people would destroy the breeding ground for fascism.
So, folks, I'm just going to answer. Krista is having some great questions here. Krista, why does the far right look more appealing to people who lose trust in America, trust in democracy, when sounds so full of shit? So, Krista, when people start losing faith in democracy, you typically see more people turning to the far right and to the far left. So that means you have an option, okay? You either the society either goes far to the right or it can go more to the left. So it isn't necessarily that fascism is more appealing, but typically the elites, so like the wealthy business owners in a society who have a lot of power, really support the fascists because they don't want society going leftward because that would infringe upon their profits. So more propaganda and more state power goes into supporting the right wing, which is why it typically gets more power, or why fascism tends to be stronger in these circumstances, if that makes sense, okay? So that's another issue with our institutions. But this is once again why we cannot stand in the center, because we got two options. One, we go more to the left, or we already are under fascism, but we're gonna go to the right. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If you look back at my past streams, I explain that more in depth. But that is the issue we're faced with.
Fascism that hasn't changed since the past. In the 1920s, mass image production became possible for the first time, a powerful propaganda tool for fascists. Today, we see a similar phenomenon: the internet. And don't even get me started again on AI. The aestheticization of politics has proven its power.
Krista, I could not have phrased it better. You got it. Krista says, oh, that's why people say we become more polarizing. 100%, Krista. And the wealthy fund propaganda in the far right. Correct. Because the wealthy will not fund the far left, or the left generally, because the left believes in things like higher taxes on the wealthy, more rights for workers, more rights for minority groups and things like that. And the wealthy and stuff do not like that. So they are willing, even if they don't like them very much, they will support the fascists over the left every single time. And it puts the left at a major disadvantage. And there's also just more money being spent on the right for that reason, okay? Yeah, you got it, Krista.
Or once again, whether in the 1920s or today, we are witnessing in real time the shift into a post-factual world where fairy tales and horror stories with dangerous monsters have become the new reality. Again, step by step, the tracks are being laid to build a society ready for violence. A society eager to restore traditional masculinity, revive national pride, and troll the enemies of the people. But friendly fascism is fading away. It has become more bold, louder, more aggressive. The snake has finally begun to show its face again, and we are doing
nothing.
Nothing.
Yep.
We have been completely desensitized. Hitler and Mussolini were connecting themselves to history in order to achieve an immortal legacy that is remembered as glorious and intimidating. Today's fascism comes with a corporate, memeable, ironic wink.
I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck.
I can't.
They're terrible people.
I can't.
It's not even a question. These people are not your allies.
They're human fucking beings, god damn it. Asmongold, you have a massive audience. What's wrong with you, you goddamn monster? Jesus Christ, I can't. I just can't.
They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible.
What does that even
It kills
mean?
people for their identity, and it is directly antithetical to
Israel
everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways. It is that simple. No, I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care. I don't support them.
You're a sociopath. You're a goddamn sociopath. What is wrong with you? And this guy, that guy's super popular, isn't he? Am I right about that? Isn't Asmongold like super popular? Oh my God. Jesus.
Every cult needs enemies to sustain the constant feeling of victimhood and revolutionary progress. Defining in-groups and out-groups is crucial in every fascist ideology, otherwise the illusion of righteousness would fall apart. Everyone is out to get you, to destroy the beautiful thing you're being part of, to destroy your cause, to destroy your leader, to destroy what you love, your country, your culture, your identity, and your life. There's always one conspiracy after another. Fascists are spreading the belief that
Sci Guy, I'll tell you what Western values are. I talked about it in the video on Christopher Columbus. We can see what Western values look like in Israel, always claiming to be this bastion of Western values in the Middle East. And what does that look like? What does that look like? It means the mass slaughter of civilians, colonization, death, okay? It is a dog whistle for racist, white supremacist, European supremacist ideologies. It is a meaningless phrase that is used as a dog whistle.
strict, unchangeable natural hierarchies exist, based on race, gender, or culture. The ones on top, the supremacists, will decide your worth. If you're feminist, refuse to be a trad wife, or have slept with more than one man, you are already used and undesirable.
The feel when we control your bodies. Hey, we control your bodies. Guess what? Guys win again, okay?
Disgusting.
Men win again.
Nick
And yes,
Fuentes.
we can.
See, this is why I want a guillotine tattoo. This is why I want a guillotine tattoo for people like goddamn Nick Fuentes.
Control your bodies. It's your body, my choice. We will keep you down forever. You will never control your own bodies. Your body, our choice.
This will.
You know, women really ought to start forming militia groups and shit. I'm not even joking. Like, this is insane. Okay, I honestly, like, I'm not pro-gun here, but women need to be armed. This is insane. Like, he's saying it to you. He's rubbing it in your faces, saying he wants to control your bodies. And we all know from what we've seen here, even in live streams, that is a coming threat. If it's already here, okay? Disgusting. Men, you should arm. I mean. Men who love a woman, okay? Yeah, you too, okay? They're coming for your wife. They're coming for your grandmother. They're coming. I mean, it's disgusting.
Reduce your worth. If you produce art, content, or other forms of creative expression that don't align with right-wing ideals, are no longer.
Jonas, 100%. It's almost like the guys don't realize fascism has led to far more deaths than Islamic terrorism. 100%, okay? This hyper focus on this Islamophobic notion of Islamic terrorism. And in the United States, by the way, many more deaths are caused by right-wing terrorism that has ever been caused by Islamic terrorism. I mean, it is a distraction from the actual problem.
Labeled as entartete Kunst, but are instead branded as woke. Anyone who challenges conservative social values is automatically considered woke. A neo-Marxist, a communist, a beta sheep. This will reduce your worth.
And there was a wisdom in what Richard Nixon said approximately 40, 50 years ago. He said, and I quote, "The professors are the enemy."
If you're an academic or a professor, part of the entertainment industry, or a politician who doesn't submit to the president, you are seen as part of the deep state, the elites, and are therefore labeled as communists, globalists, Freemasons, or satanic pedophiles.
Yep.
This will reduce your worth. If you're part of the queer community, you will be seen as sick, perverted, and pedophilic. Again.
Yep.
This will
This is so
reduce
sad.
your worth. If you don't have a full functioning body or mind, your genetics are seen as broken or infected that needs to be dealt with. This will reduce your worth.
Oh.
If you're black or an immigrant, you will be seen as barbaric, aggressive, and unintelligent. This will reduce your worth.
Honestly, I'm pro-genocide. It sounds really shitty, but I think that Israel should just drop its fucking borders about where it is now, and basically Palestinians can go live in another place. That's really shitty, but that's about where I'm at.
If you're a Muslim, you will be seen as anti-Semitic, barbaric, and a terrorist. Ever since 9/11, and now with the extermination of Palestinians in Gaza, the dehumanization and death toll of Muslims worldwide have rapidly grown. This will definitely reduce your worth.
I saw in Auschwitz that if a dominant group wants to dehumanize others, so as the Nazis
This
want,
man is a hero. I've seen him before. He was a victim of the Holocaust, now a massive critic of the Israeli government, hero. That puts him in danger, and we all know it puts him in danger. To speak out against the Israeli government puts him in danger, and he's doing it because he knows what's right. He lived through the Holocaust. Brave, brave man.
to dehumanize me, these dominant group must first be dehumanized in a way themselves by diminishing their empathy due to propaganda and indoctrination. I am appalled about how hateful, how dehumanized, that they do not see any human aspect in any Palestinian anymore. It's terrible. The Zionists have not any right whatsoever to use the Holocaust for any purpose.
Right, man,
And
guy.
if you're Jewish, you could
London,
be,
welcome to
again, seen as a parasite that conspires against your people. The murder
my
of
God.
6 million people. You and
That's
the
Auschwitz,
generational
by the
trauma
way.
you've suffered will be weaponized by the people in power to justify the war crimes and genocide, resulting in a surge of modern anti-Semitism. Again, this will reduce your worth. One of the most naive mistakes is to believe that you yourself would be safe under a fascist regime, no matter how much you submit to the state. One question will always linger in your head.
Oh my God.
Am I safe?
By the way, fascists, by the way, have to make you always feel like you're not safe. That is why you have to be extra careful when they're screaming about immigrants, when they're screaming about Muslims, when they're screaming about trans people. The reality doesn't matter. What matters is frightening people, putting them into a state of fear. Oh my God, this guy's a genius, folks. Thank you so much, Alyssa, for recommending this. I'm gonna watch his other stuff too. That was genius. That was really disturbing. Okay. Let me go back to Face here, folks. Yeah, so much effort, beautifully produced. The music, everything, the angles, the artistic value. Brilliant, brilliant creator there. Okay, guys, let me get back to my Face here. There we go. Jesus. Oh, Okay, guys, let me see what we got here in chat. You guys have been making great comments. I know. I'm sorry I haven't been reading everyone's. I've been trying to watch the video at the same time here. Right, Jonas, who the hell does quote Nixon? Apparently he does. Meow Zord, I'm worried when the moment comes for revolution, the billionaires turn off all the digital platforms for communication. Yeah, that's an issue, right? They control all that shit. Long Beach Dragon, you're coming. Two words Nick Fuentes will never hear used together, right? Alan W., the U.S. had to dehumanize Muslims to justify the war on terror and our never-ending occupation of the Middle East. 100%, Alan. Right after 9/11, all this dehumanizing language came out. I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, like, today, everywhere. It's everywhere. I know, right, Matt Side Guy? I'm triggered. I'm definitely triggered from watching that. Okay. Okay. London CR's reaction for every one of these clips is accurate to my own. Yeah, well, I am glad to hear that because sometimes I feel like, and I'm sure many of you do that. It's like screaming into the void, you know. Like, does anyone else see? Like, yeah. Okay. Matt Side Guy, this is why I don't agree with those who say that we need to find a middle ground with the other side. The other side are literal Nazis. Yeah, you cannot stand in the middle. I don't. But there especially are a lot of Democrats out there that are like, yo, let's just keep straddling the middle. Let's bash the left wing and then hope, roll the dice that the fascism doesn't continue. You can't do that. You cannot do that, Chuck Schumer. Anyway, Gavin Newsom. All right. Hassan, Jonas here. This reminds me of how far-right people in UK have started circulating Maggie Thatcher clips. Why the hell would you glorify such a bad leader? I know, right? I know. You also see that in the United States, but they frame it in, oh, she was the first female prime minister. A lot of times that that identity politics stuff is used. It sort of glosses over like the horror of some of these people, and it drives me crazy. Anyway, is he really Meowzord running for Congress? That's okay. Which one? Would you tell me their name? Alan W. Destiny is the type of person that justifies his bigotry by saying, I vote for the Democratic Party. Folks, there are a lot of folks who justify their bigotry by saying that they're Democrats, okay? Or by saying that they're against Trump, okay? I think we've seen it even in chat here, certain individuals. I'm just saying, okay, the Democratic Party is, it's a shithole right now, okay? Okay, is that why Macy, you're not wrong here. Is that why they hate unbothered women? Exactly, because if you're unbothered, if you are asserting your independence and asserting your autonomy, that bothers them because they want you to be afraid, okay? Yeah, Meowzord, absolutely incredible video. Does he have any other good ones, Alyssa? Meowzord, I saw that you posted on there. We should, maybe we'll take a look at that. The trailer for the Orwell. I would love to watch that. Let's watch it now. We will watch it now. But first, let me go through these chats, and then we'll do that. Yeah, right, Jonas. They hate unbothered women because the only times they get to interact is when they're verbally attacking. Yep. Right, Krista. Amazing creator there. And he knew his stuff. It's almost like he like has a PhD or something on fascism. He knew his stuff. Okay, Mithril. I told her friend that if she claimed to be anti-feminist, she was of the right wing. She got very defensive. I'm sure. Okay, Alan W. Yeah, I don't want Republicans in my party. If they had cops, border patrol, Republican politicians speak at the DNC, Kamala campaigned with Liz Cheney. Yes, she did. And a lot of the mainstream media was like praising her for this, being like, look, she's trying to reach over to the other side. That's not what people want. Okay. That's not what people want. They cannot stand in the center. Alan W. They don't want Republican. Oh, I'm sorry. You just mentioned. I just read that one. Alan W. couldn't find a 5-minute speaking slot of a Palestinian Democrat that was going to endorse Kamala, though. Of course not. Yeah, not at the DNC. not of the DNC. Too much money flowing in there from AIPAC and stuff. Yeah, Alyssa, this Auschwitz 100% unemployment guide. Oh, what are we doing? Okay. Meow Zord, Kyle Langford. Okay. Is the zero? Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, I don't know if I shouldn't be surprised anymore, folks, but it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's watch that trailer for that Orwell movie, folks. If we get 4 more super chats, I'll put on the Jester makeup. But again, if we don't get it, not the end of the world. Let me see here. Okay, the Orwell. I saw it here earlier. Here it is. Okay, thank you, Meowsword, for sending this. Let's take. So this is we all know here. I'm a massive fan of Orwell. Everyone here should be too. No one's allowed in chat if they haven't read 1984. Okay, I'm just kidding. But really, you all should read 1984. Let's take a look. So this is or it's called Orwell 2 + 2 = 5 trailer, which sounds very Orwellian. You know how language gets distorted in authoritarian societies and things like that, to the point where it bends reality. Let's watch this real fast here. Make sure I got my okay, here we go. Let's take a look at this. Right, Matt Guy? The Labour Party in the UK should rebrand themselves as conservatives, to be honest. The way they are pandering to the far right and allowing for the spread of hatred towards immigrants is abominable, 100%. And we're going to do a stream sometime on UK politics. So, guys, let's take a look at this. This is just a trailer for this movie. Let's watch. Fantastic, Mithril.
When I sit down to write a book, I write it because there is some lie that I want to expose.
Right, Oz.
Again, how many fingers?
My starting point is always a feeling of injustice.
Oh, I'm sorry, folks. I need to put it actually back up on the screen. My apologies. Here. There we go. Let me start it over so we can all see the imagery here, which is fantastic. Okay, there we go. Let's do it again.
When I sit down to write a book, I write it because there is some lie that I want to expose.
Again, how many fingers?
My starting point is always a feeling of injustice. The very concept of objective truth is fading out of this world.
I'm going to set down what I dare not say aloud to anyone.
This prospect frightens me much more than bombs. The words democracy, freedom, justice have each of them several different meanings, which cannot be reconciled with one another.
You see the demolishment of truth in real time. Raoul Peck's clarity is only matched by his field of necessity. There's a famous saying in 1984 is war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. And that is the sort of motto of the government in the 1984 world. You can see how that is an automatic contradiction, right? War is freedom. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. And they repeat it over and over again till it becomes believable, even though it is a contradiction in itself. Thank you, Alyssa, for the super chat. Hope Core 1984 has 18-week wait at my library. Yeah, I've heard it's been flying off the shelves, and I've also heard that Amazon has to constantly restock it because they can't keep enough in stock at any given time because so many people are reading it, which is great to hear.
Political language is designed to make lies sound truthful.
The love in the air, I've never seen anything like it.
And murder respectable.
Brilliant.
Freedom is slavery.
Yep.
War is peace. Ignorance is strength. Totalitarianism, if not fought against, could triumph anywhere.
You're right,
Do you begin to see then what kind of world we are creating.
Oh, that looks brilliant. Would someone tell me, is this is this a documentary? Is this I was kind of unclear. Is it a documentary? Is it a drama? What is it exactly?
Did you know that nearly half of US TV streaming time is on?
So yeah, this that looks fantastic. Yeah, that looks beautiful. I'm very excited for whatever. I'm not kind of sure what kind of movie it is, but it looks almost like a documentary type thing. I'm not sure. Mithril, I feel Brave New World is just as relevant. It is overlooked a lot, Mithril, but Brave New World also an excellent, excellent book. Covers some of the same kind of ideas as 1984. Jonas Hassan, these fascists only bring up the most extreme feminist liberals. Yeah, absolutely, they do. It does, and they exploit like fringe cases of that, and they harp on it time and time again. Correct. Meowsard, I watched this in bed last night. Did I sleep? I doubt that, Meow. I doubt you didn't sleep. I bet you didn't sleep well, did you? Okay, I know, right? London gave me goosebumps too, okay? Did you try the Web of Books? Did Discord watch party? You know, we totally could do that. I'd have to figure out if we're able to, but if we can, absolutely. We'd love to do a watch party in Discord. Yeah, Henry G. Lies My Teacher Told Me is an excellent book. Excellent book. Toy. Guys, I gotta go. Amazon content today. On point analysis and Alyssa, thank you, Toy. You have a great rest of your day. Okay. I have a PDF copy of 1984 if anyone needs. Love that, Luke. You could even put it if you give it to me on Discord. I can put it in our resources. I can probably find it too online, but ciao, Toy. Alyssa, Mats, I know I have. Okay. Sorry, you're talking to him. Okay. London, one of my dreams is helping produce a documentary after the entire Trump era has passed and all the corruption, lies, etc. Yeah, I tell you what, folks, I have a file on my computer that is I throw in as much information, news articles, images I can from the Trump administration because I don't think I'll be the one writing the book, but some academic somewhere could use all this historic primary source material to write an amazing book about the Trump era, if we ever get through it. Is that true, Alyssa? Okay, fair. Then maybe we should do it. Might be a good time to share the Discord link. Hey, folks, would someone put the Discord link? So, Krista, excellent question. Krista, you are on fire. I don't think I've seen you in chat before, but you have great questions. Krista, Garrett, I had a question. If Israel has so much powerful weapons and want to destroy Gaza and the Palestinian people, why are they extending the destruction for years? What kind of benefit does it give them? Exactly. So London is right. So you actually see this a lot when it comes to genocides. You see this quite frequently. If you do it all at once, if you kind of, and first of all, I should point out, there are different governments in Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu's government is particularly vicious. And I mean, the other ones have been horrific as well. But you have to give the image that you're not doing a mass genocide. I mean, they're barely hiding it now, but you have to be able to justify it because Israel relies on the monetary support of the United States and other countries. So if they were to outright do just do it, like go in there and just start slaughtering I mean, they kind of are. That would be a big stain on Israel. So it has to be, for them, they view it as a slow process in order to justify what they're doing and prevent much blowback from the international community. Okay. Okay, thank you, London. So, folks, the Discord channel is in chat. Please, if you're in here and you haven't joined, join. We have a great community on there. You can also put video recommendations in the recommendations channel that I will watch on stream and react to live. Please do that if you haven't joined Discord already. Our community is growing very fast, and I'm loving seeing the number of people in there having great discussions. Yeah, London. The first step of a genocide. Great call, London. As always here. The first step of a genocide is demonizing the other side globally. Misinformation, propaganda. All these are tools in getting it done. It's why there's such a large split in people that call it a genocide. Yeah, because Israel pumps out a lot of propaganda, and it's supported by the United States. Also pops up propaganda. It's a process to dehumanize. Even the Nazis, by the way, did not immediately start killing the Jews. First, they demonized them, dehumanized them, made them wear stars and things like that. Separated them from society, put them into ghettos. It was a slow stage by stage process over years. It was not an immediate thing. For those who watched my stream on the Rwandan genocide, remember they started calling the Tutsis in Yenzi years before the slaughter began. They started writing laws against the Tutsis. It was a slow process over years. And we see the same thing happening in Israel and Palestine over the years. This process has been a slow buildup, and we're getting to the crescendo, unfortunately. Yeah, Tiago, I have seen that, and it brings me tremendous joy. Now, of course, it's not enough, but yes, okay. Tiago says, honestly, I think there's way less people being fooled by Israel than before. People are waking up, and that is. The internet has partially made that true because beforehand, mainstream news sources would be the main source that people would get information from. So they couldn't really see the reality because they had to get all their information from a few set mainstream news sources. But now they can. People are actually seeing the images coming out of Gaza. Yeah, you're right, Macy. They couldn't. Jewish people couldn't go to theaters. They were isolated from society and things like that. So it was a process over time. I know, Krista. And hey, we take a break occasionally, Krista. I think all the people in chat here know we're all torturing ourselves a lot of the time thinking about this stuff. But yeah, it is very important to think about, and more people need to think about it. Yeah, Jonas, the pro-Israeli people say it's not a genocide if UN laws are in place to stop the genocide in its track. Yeah, isn't that convenient, Jonas? I mean, the United States and Israel break international law all the time. Of course, it doesn't make it not a genocide. It just means that the law isn't being enforced, which it should be enforced. And I will point out, most of the world agrees that it's a genocide. It's mainly the United States that keeps vetoing any action in the UN Security Council. So, I mean, this, and the United States is making itself into a pariah if it wasn't already, okay, by being one of the sole countries in the UN Security Council that is consistently blocking any movement to stop the genocide. Yeah, it is. The UN law is a joke. No one enforces it. I deeply believe in the importance of international law, but it's useless. It's useless if no one enforces it, or they selectively enforce it. It is a really big problem. Okay. Okay, folks. All right. So, let me put my face back up here. So, I'm gonna ask a poll in chat here. I'm considering doing a gaming stream later today. I'm just in chat. Let me see if anyone might be wanting to stop by. It would probably be like around 7 p.m. or something, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Let me just, I just want to see if anyone here would be stopping by to that. Would you? Okay. I feel like we need sort of a palate cleanser, so I think a gaming stream later would be helpful. Gaming stream later, around 7 Eastern time. Okay. So that even did it ask the question? Is there a yes or a no? Nope, didn't even give you options, did it? It didn't even give you options. Okay, well, I do see some people would come, so okay. So we'll consider that. Yeah, you're right, Jonas. I mean, they are purposely it's obvious they're purposely targeting hospitals. But see, if they were to do it all at once, then it would be too obvious. So they got to kind of make an excuse, there was that baby was a human shield or whatever, disgusting, gross stuff like that. MK Ultra, it's the job of the jester. If we don't think about it and we study it in order to politely or impolitely inform people, who will? No, MK Ultra, you're right. But I do believe in palate cleansers, right? That's kind of why I'm dressed like a jester. I view it kind of as my job to shove the harsh reality down people's throats. Okay. But if your brain takes too much at once, it won't be able to process what it's hearing. So it is okay to occasionally break off from that to give your brain a rest. Because you, but yeah, you're totally right, MK Ultra. Okay. All right, guys. I know we've been streaming for about 2 hours. I'm going to get off now. Honestly, I think I need a little break, especially after watching that. Also, to get some food and such. I will come back on later to do a gaming stream. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for recommendations. Please join our Discord channel. If you want to become a member, you can support me for as little as 99 cents a month. And here, let me get back to my face because I'm at my face. So I think you all know what's coming here. Okay. Thank you all who stopped by. Alyssa, I'm not sure yet. I'll put a poll in Discord to decide what game I'm going to play. Okay. All right, guys. So okay. Oh, here we go. So I think you all know what's coming, right? First of all, and most importantly at this moment, free Palestine. What are we doing? Free Palestine. They deserve to be free. Stop slaughtering civilians. Free Palestine. Second of all, never stop resisting. Okay, never stop resisting. The easiest way you can resist is to think for yourselves. The easiest way you can resist is to think for yourselves, and that includes when you watch me. I am a human being. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. Okay, see what other people are saying. Okay, take in information from other streamers, other YouTubers. Don't just rely on me. Think for yourselves. Okay. Secondly, we are living in a fascist moment, not only here but around the world. Fascism occurs when people start losing faith in their democracy, faith in the system that exists, and they start looking for more radical means, including using scapegoating, war, things of that nature. Okay. The way to fight fascism is for major reforms. We need major reforms in this country and around the world if we want to stop fascism. Make people have faith in their democracies again. You cannot stand in the center. I think this video made it clear. You cannot stand in the center. If you stand in the center, the fascists will walk all over you. You cannot stand in the center. We have to make major reforms. Go to the left. Even if it's just a little bit, please go to the left. Okay. Second, and lastly, behind me on the wall. Behind me on the wall is Chainbreaker. Chainbreaker is a sword from the Civil War. It is rumored to have been responsible for the death of 7 slave owners. Why do I have it back there? I have it back there to remind everyone of all the sacrifices that our ancestors have made for the things we have today, the economic liberties, the civil rights liberties, all the things that we have that we like today. Were created through sacrifice. We cannot let their sacrifice go to waste. Please don't let their sacrifice go to waste, okay? We're quickly going backwards. We cannot let their sacrifice go to waste, and we have to fight for a better future. And on that note, folks, you have a good rest of your day, afternoon, evening. I will see you later when I come back to live stream and do a gaming live stream. Have a good day, night, wherever you are in the world, okay? Bye-bye.